catastrophic situation with tragic consequences. And I'm here this morning with the help of the Lord to project to us that the word of God that was spoken to the people years ago, that is ancient, the truth, the infallible truth of the word of God remains even true today, and the word of the Lord addresses our political situation, our judicial situation, and the religious situation in Nigeria today. Brethren, the religious system in Nigeria and beyond, there is religious exploitation, there is religious manipulation in Nigeria and beyond. And this is happening within religious circles. The gospel of Jesus Christ has been commercialized. Today in Nigeria, some religious leaders own private jets, they own spaces in airports, they own properties in Nigeria and beyond. Today, the religious leaders in this country drive the latest brand of cars in this country worth hundreds of millions and billions of naira. And these religious leaders have access to the best hospitals in the world. They have the money to travel for expensive vacations in expensive places, but their members are so poor that they can hardly afford to send their children even to public institutions. Schools are built using the tithes, the offering, the donations of these poor people, of the rich people in the household of God. But the same poor people who bring tithes and offering in the household of God can hardly afford to send their children even to the schools that are built from denominations and the people of God. They can hardly afford. And yet the schools are built using the money of these poor people and the people of God. But they can hardly afford to send their children to these schools. Today, religious leaders who have access to the best hospitals in the world, they tell and deceive gullible members that all their problems are spiritual. They have no natural dimensions, and therefore they don't need to approach hospitals for medical care, for medical attention. But the same religious leaders have access to the best hospitals in the world. It is religious manipulation and exploitation. Some of these religious leaders, CEO Christian leaders, and in Christian circles are invisible members, but they are visible to the rich members in their congregations. This is a sad reality of our time. Permit me to unmask the evil under the sun, that the poor can hardly hear the gospel, because some religious leaders have failed in their responsibility to proclaim the word of God, to shepherd them, to lead them in the path of truth and justice and holiness and in the fear of the Lord. Please don't do their work. I'm not saying this should not be done. When the means and the will is there, it should be done. Because it is wicked, it is immoral, it is evil when the leaders of God's people labor and they are forsaken and they are not taken care of. It is not righteousness, it is ungodly. It is ungodly. But where leaders intentionally create systems so that they can make money, where leaders have access to the resources of the church, but they ignore these poor members in the household of God, it is absolute wickedness, and it is not the work that the Lord has given to them that they are doing. When we ignore the poor, when we don't take care of the poor in our midst, when we give attention to the rich, when we ignore the poor in our midst and give attention to those who have it in quote, we are not doing the work of God, but we are doing our own work. We are strange prophets that are serving a strange God. I don't care if these religious leaders sound and they seem to be sound and teaching sound doctrine, as long as they're not working for the interest of Jesus Christ, they are not servants of God, but they are prophets, mouthpiece of a strange God, not the God that I've come to know in the word of the Lord that we have in our hands. Today, religious leaders are busy that as leaders, including myself, that we are building the church of Jesus Christ. Today, before elections are conducted in the church, they have been concluded at home. Why do we have many cases in the courts today? Or some cases in courts today? Because self and the word is in the church. We have given leaders the impression, some upcoming leaders the impression, that the higher you go, the better it gets for you. And the orientation is not about the higher you go, the more the service. And because of that orientation that has been made available or provided or pattern or frame, then those who are coming are taking after the pattern that has been created. I wish that we will create a system, an orientation, that the higher you go, the more the service, the more the holiness, the more the dedication, the more the commitment, not the more the resources, not the more the packages. And that is why men and people today are striving to get to the top, because we have created a system and a pattern that says the higher you go, the better it gets for you. Why can't we take care of people at the bottom and teach them that they are there for service, not that they are there to rise, so that when they rise, then things will get better? The problem that is in the world is the problem that is in the church, because the word is in the church. Are we sure that we are serving God and working for His interest? Are we doing the work of God that God has called us to do? Are we taking care of people as leaders? Are we taking care of God's people according to the word of God that we have in our hands? The judicial system, the judiciary ought to be that arm of government where the bell of justice and truth rings daily. Christian lawyers, judges, and justices, you have the divine mandate. Say, no, come back. We are